Good morning, Indian Hills. Dr. Christensen here. Hey, today we are going to talk about accountability, and this is just being responsible. It's really what it is, being responsible and doing what we're supposed to be doing. So I want to make sure that we understand expectations for being responsible with daily work and with reassessment and academic honesty. So I'm going to talk you through a few things here. The first is the expectation is that work is completed within the time assigned. So if you're supposed to get something done within the period, you should get it done within the period. If you have 2 or 3 days, you should be able to get it done in 2 or 3 days. So get it done within the timeline in which it's assigned. Is work for a grade? Yes. The answer is always yes. Evidence of learning is always evidence we use towards assigning a grade. We look at multiple pieces of evidence when we assign a grade. It's not just one piece of work. So is the answer? The answer is always yes. Is it for a grade? The teacher will often have an expectation for you to complete by the end of the period. This is called an exit ticket. When you show that you have completed that work or done the quiz or the formative assessment, then you may leave the room. So it's expected that you complete that work before the end of the period. If you don't get done, it makes sense that you would stay. So that's why that says stay put. So you would stay until you get it done. You would stay through passing. You might even stay into the next period. And at that time, they would call ahead to your teacher and say that they'll send you when they can. Sometimes they may send you even to the office or to other places in the building so that you can complete that work before you go to your next class. Sometimes a teacher may say, can you get this done before you get to class tomorrow? And you might be able to say yes. Then when you show up, you should have an entrance ticket. So you're only allowed in the class if the work is completed. If the work is not completed, you will be sent somewhere else to complete that work before you can go to class. Best bet, just get it done. You might also need to go to Encore for reteaching or extended time to get the work done. And that's okay for some people who need that reteaching or need the extra time. Also, it's possible that we may arrange with your parents to stay after school or to come in early before school. So those are all the ways that we expect you to show responsibility and also respect for the work your teachers have prepared for you to be have your daily work completed. Okay, now I'm going to transition to the West Des Moines Junior High Reassessment and Academic Dishonesty Guidelines. This is for both junior highs. It has been approved. So this is what is expected. The district is now telling us the same things that I'm just telling you. For daily work, first bullet point there, all work that is connected to students' overall growth towards proficiency needs to be, all work should be connected to standards, is what that first bullet is saying. The next is that students are expected to engage in that work and complete the work, and they're supposed to complete the work, third bullet, in the assigned amount of time. So if work is not completed within that time, then the district is saying that we should give you, have you stay and complete the work, that you should go to Encore, or you should stay after school or come before school. So basically everything I just talked about is in this district guideline. Here are the district guidelines for reassessment. So if you're not able, after a formative assessment or any evidence of learning, to be able to show that you have demonstrated proficiency, then students should have the opportunity to reassess. In order to reassess, you must first attempt and successfully try to complete the original assessment. So you can't just not take the first test and be able to reassess. You have to take the first test. Teachers will work with you and your parents and other teachers to help to ensure that you have time for reassessment. And your highest level of proficiency will always be recorded in the grade book. The second bullet point. If you do take an assessment, you do have the opportunity, if possible, to take the assessment again to show mastery. So not just proficiency, but mastery. That's if the assessment allows for it, sometimes proficiency is mastery and there isn't anything more to do. You'll have 2 weeks after the end of the unit to take reassessment. If you wait longer than 2 weeks, you will not be able to reassess and you will take the score that you have. To reassess, students have to show evidence of new learning. So if they didn't do well on the first assessment, in order to reassess, you have to show that you've actually done some new learning. There's a list there of things that you could do to show new learning. So you could complete the practice work or study guides that you didn't get done. You could redo those practice work or study guides. You could come in for extra time at Encore before and after school. You could also do some work with a peer or a tutor or a parent that you can see that there's work that's been done. That would be your ticket to reassess. If a student still is struggling to become proficient, the teacher will reach out to their PLC, sometimes a special ed teacher, sometimes an ESOL teacher, sometimes a math resource or reading resource teacher, and also try to get some help to see if we can't help the student become proficient. If we do not see evidence of learning, then this bullet says that we will change the grade to an I, which is an incomplete. And when we change the grade to an I, we will also change the grade to an F. So if you do not complete any work towards a priority standard, we will change the grade to an I, and that I will be considered an F for the grade. The end of the grading period here is the cutoff for reassessment. So that's the end of the semester is the last time you can possibly reassess. But remember, you only have 2 weeks after the end of the unit. At the end of the semester, it's done. The grade is done. If there's an assessment given at the end of the semester or the grading period, then students have to have time to be able to reassess. So they can't just give the test at the very end. There needs to be time to reassess. The district guidelines are that the I is changed to a grade 10 days after the end of the semester. Remember that I changes to an F if there is no additional evidence that shows learning has happened towards that standard. Failure to complete priority standards does end up being an F. So you need to complete all of the priority standards. If you do 3 of the 4, you still will end up having an F. You must complete all of the priority standards. All right, this is just academic dishonesty, which means if a student plagiarizes or cheats on the assessment, that is not acceptable. The first thing the teacher will do is check to see was this intentional or unintentional, because sometimes we make mistakes. If it is unintentional, we'll still have the student redo the work. If it's intentional, then they will contact your parents, work with the student to determine if they know what they need to know to complete the standard, and then they will redo the work to show their evidence of learning towards the standard. So at the end, the student is always required to provide new evidence of progress towards learning on that proficiency. So you're going to end up redoing it. And be happy about that, because first of all, don't be dishonest. Second, we're giving you an opportunity to still learn. If you're in college, and sometimes in high school, in college, they will just flunk you and they will kick you out of school. It is important that you learn now not to be dishonest with cheating or plagiarism. All right, Dr. C signing out. Go Tigers!